weren't we told to stay home, stay off the freeway?
Yeah, you got to get your mic closer there.
Oh,
See, yeah.
I told you. It's
Roberta
been a long time.
reminds me, but I have to remind her. Okay. All right, so here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Oh. Welcome back, everybody. It's time for a new season, a new year of Living Hope, a weekly show designed to provide hope, inspiration, and education for those living with pancreatic cancer, sharing the real-life stories of those really affected by this deadly disease and how they deal with it on a daily basis. With our host, a little wet today, but made it through the storm. Roberta Luna, welcome.
Thank you. Hopefully I don't look like a wet dog. I tried to run in.
We're both laughing for those listening in the future. This is one of those rare rain days here that we're beginning to welcome here in Southern California. But I smiled as I drove up the freeway. Big sign over the freeway, electronic sign says, storm warning, avoid travel. I'm already on the freeway here. And only in Southern California do they tell people, stay off the roads, it's raining.
Yeah, you think they would have said that a little bit before you got on the road, right?
I mean, this isn't, look at the massive, we just had a Christmas giant snowstorm across the upper Midwest where I'm from. That was bad. That was paralyzing. That was life-threatening. 40 degrees below zero, 14 feet of snow dropping, all this stuff here. I get stay off the road there, but stay off the road because it's raining. But it is Southern California. People go crazy when it rains.
Well, I apologize to all my friends in the East who text me and say, what do you mean storm watch? You guys are getting a little bit of rain, so I do apologize.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I apologize. We haven't been on for a couple of weeks, but we had the holiday. We were off for a week in the holiday, and you had some pneumonia. You got what we were all, that was a bug that I got, everybody got, and yours got a little more serious.
Yeah, I don't like to do things halfway, I got to go all the way.
But so. You're feeling better, maybe a little leftover residual, but you're looking good.
Oh, yeah. Well, I hope I look good. Like I said, coming in, not looking like a drowned rat or something,
a little wet, but anyway.
Feeling fine, just like I said, a little hoarse here and there, but it's all good.
Well, let's look ahead. The typical show we do at this time of year is, last show we did was look back. What did we see in 2022? Let's look ahead. Did you bring your crystal ball, or is it wet in the car here still?
It's a little wet, I think.
So pull out your crystal ball and look ahead. Give us some predictions. So what anything on the horizon coming up? The biggest one that you dropped a few weeks ago, almost a month ago, was this idea of a blood test. That's pretty breakthrough if that really happens.
Yeah, I think there's something there. I don't know a whole lot about it yet. I have somebody that will be coming in and talking about it and giving us what's going on with it, what we can look forward to, and when hopefully that will even be available to us. The cost and all that good stuff that goes along with it.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, but since I met you, one of the common themes we've talked about, I've learned about, is very low survivability rate for this disease. When you were diagnosed 20 years ago, it was like, what, 4%?
4%, yes.
Then when I met you a couple years ago, it was up to, what, 5 or 6 or 7 or something?
Yeah, it went to 5, and then we jumped to, I think, 9 or 10, and then now we're up to 11.
11. And one of the common reasons people say why is that people get it earlier. Like any cancer, if you don't detect it until late, there's little you can do. But the earlier you can detect any cancer, the more likely you can intervene. Maybe you can cut it out. Maybe you can radiate it. Maybe you can do other sorts of things to slow it down or stop it or reverse it even, some people think. But whatever it is, it's all about getting it early. And one of the problems with getting this cancer early is I don't even know where the pancreas is.
Yeah, most people don't. It lays behind your stomach and more close to your spine, which accounts to a lot of people who do complain or say that they have back issues. And a lot of times the doctors will think, you pulled a muscle, or if it's on the right side, then maybe it's, more related to the kidney issue.
Yeah. You were one of the few people that's been on this show that really kind of went to your doctor and said, I think it could be pancreatic cancer. That's because you lost was it your mom?
Well, at that time, I had lost my dad, my uncle, and my grandmother. I lost my mom a few years later. But at that time,
you were younger, and your doctor's first impression was when you came in with complaints, he didn't say, I better check for pancreatic cancer.
No, not even knowing the family history. They didn't want to do anything. They wanted to kind of wait and see what it was going to do, because the
Let's see if it kills you. Oh, I guess it was pancreatic cancer. Yeah.
or let's see if it goes anywhere else, when we
Yeah.
could maybe stop it while it was still in the pancreas. It's just because of the age. I was in my mid 40s. I think I was 45 at the time, and
Wow.
the fact that they were not looking at it being hereditary, which now we know there's a 10 to 12% chance it could be. So there was just things that just wasn't in my favor at the time, but being, I guess, the pain in the butt that I can be, I was insistent that they at least look for something.
Yeah, and thank goodness they did look. So, again, one of the common questions is other cancers, I can do things to detect it. Breast cancer typically, or men with testicular cancer. There are things you can see. There's a lump. Uh-oh, I better look for these things. I better, don't ignore them if you feel, or under your arms or someplace there. There is no real kind of one common theme. Ooh, I better go check that. And there is no test to see if you've got it.
No, there's no early detection now, like you said, like with prostate cancer, there's a blood test.
Right.
With, breast cancer, you can do the mammogram and the self-exam to find. There's nothing for that right now, but things are in the works, and that's what we're hoping for this year.
So give us some hint. What about this blood thing? Who's doing it? Where did it come from? Is it real, or is it just a really living hope here?
No, I think it's real, and like I said, I don't want to get into it because I want to let that person talk about it. I don't want to give false information,
But
false
the idea
hope
is you
out
could
there.
take a test as part of your normal blood work, like when I go in and get my annual checkup, which I got to do soon. They insist I do a PSA test. I think that's what it's called,
Yes.
for prostate. And other people, women do annual mammograms. Maybe there's a simple test. Maybe it's not so simple. Maybe it's expensive. We don't know. But whatever it is, there's a test that could be added to that annual exam that would detect it early. And the hope, the feeling, the thought is, if you get any of these cancers early, your chance of surviving goes way up, right?
Yeah, much better. So it would be a fairly, simple blood test, I would think. Again, not knowing what the cost would be, but at some point, the cost is going to be high, but at some point it will drop, just like it does with anything
Sure,
else.
sure.
But if they can make that part of your yearly annual physical, or just if you're having certain symptoms that, maybe aren't explained, or just to even look at, why are we waiting till the symptoms develop before we're looking for pancreatic cancer? When you come in with
Clearly.
certain symptoms, then let's take a look, or at least if nothing else is turning out, go back and look at it again. Don't just kind of slough it off like, oh, let's wait and see, which is what I was
Because
hearing.
the typical symptoms, we've done it 100 times, it gives us what? Back pain.
It can be back pain, nausea, constipation, diarrhea, itching, change in your diet.
itching. And who would think the first thought is, oh, I might have cancer. You think you'd have a bite, a spider bite, or a poison ivy or something. I don't know, whatever, some
Yeah.
allergic reaction to something here.
I think because the itching can be contributed or looked at as far as, I guess, for diabetes. That's one of the symptoms, I believe, what I was told. And with my mom, that was something that she had extreme itching, but we thought dry skin,
Dry skin, right.
different things. Didn't even look at pancreatic cancer.
Okay, so any of these common ailments, don't just dismiss it. They're going to tell you it's probably this, and it probably is, but don't discount that it might be something more serious.
Yeah, don't put it at the end of the list. Go ahead and get it checked out, and if it doesn't show up, start looking at the other things. And if you're still not finding the answer, go back and look at pancreatic cancer again, because it took them 6 to 8 months, I think, to find my dad's.
And what is it that they do? It must be a blood test, though, that discovers it. Well, how do they know you have it?
Well, there is a blood test, but it's a cancer marker for more than anything else, and they just kind of watch to see what that is. But even that's not a true indication of pancreatic cancer, because a lot of people have the marker within normal range, but yet they do have
So
cancer.
how do they discover you've got it? Once they think, well, let's check. What is it you do? They do this test, and then does it come back negative or positive? Do they do it? Some cancers you have to actually go in and get a snippet of it.
For mine, you start with ultrasounds, MRIs, all those things, and then they
see
go.
there's a lump, there's a mass, there's a dark spot.
They see something, and then they may want to go in and do a biopsy. Mine, I did both biopsies where it was a needle biopsy, where they actually go in through the pancreas to the side.
Yikes.
Yeah, it wasn't real pleasant, but they did, and it was kind of good.
Yikes.
But you see the size of the needle, and you're kind of thinking, well, I don't know if I want to do this or not. But
Yeah.
you're already too late. And
But
then
that's the determination. They go get a piece of it, test it, and then they report back.
yeah, there's no real easy way to. Not that the mammogram is comfortable by any means, but it's not as invasive as having to go in through
Right.
your throat to the stomach to the pancreas to get a biopsy. or any other way. So that's the only way they can actually confirm it is by an actual
And that's where
biopsy.
they go down your throat into
Yeah,
the,
they put a tube down your throat, and then this little instrument goes in, and then they go into the pancreas and they pull out whatever it is they need to look at.
and then the other thing that's shocked me from the beginning, just to kind of recap what I've learned here, is not only is it hard to detect because and the symptoms don't give it away instantly here, it's hard to get out. Other cancers, you go chop it out.
Yeah, depending on the location, because you have veins and arteries going through the pancreas. In my situation, that's where mine is located. It's intertwined with the vein and artery that goes through the pancreas, making surgery for myself right now not doable. But for others, sometimes, when they do the chemo, that will release the tumor a little bit away from the area so they can go in and remove it. But for most people, I don't remember the percentage exactly, but it's a very low percentage that actually can have surgery.
That's why I was surprised. And the surgery is called what was named after some doctor, Whipple or something?
Yeah, it's a Whipple. I mean, there's even a long name, but yeah, the simple is to go in a Whipple. And it's not a simple surgery. It's, pretty much replumbing your insides, and it can be anywhere from 8 hours to, I think, 14
And it
hours.
leaves you, what, after you've had the surgery, you forever then missing something. Not just your pancreas, but what.
Well, sometimes they'll take out the full pancreas. Sometimes it's just a portion of it, and like I said, kind of replumbing things. But it can change, like your diet for the rest of your life. Some people have told me they can't eat certain things without causes them to have to go to the bathroom,
what does the
diarrhea.
pancreas do? You've told me 100 times.
Yeah.
I still don't remember.
Yeah, well, the pancreas is really very important because it distills your your insulin. So it's one thing for your insulin, which is needed.
Right.
But it also releases the enzymes to help break down your foods. So we need the pancreas. I mean, yes, you can live without the pancreas because you can go on, there's enzymes that you can take. And if it leaves you a diabetic, then, you can also
That was it.
do
That can leave you
Yeah.
diabetic. Well, I've lived without the pancreas because I don't even know I have a pancreas. So I might as well have lived without it. It didn't even. I know I got a heart, I got a lung, I got a kidney. I didn't know I had a pancreas.
Well, I guess maybe be glad you don't know, because that means you don't have any problems so far.
I guess so. It's the most important unknown organ in our body here.
I would say so, like I said, because it is, for your insulin, and especially to help break down your food.
Okay. All right. So all of that might be discoverable. Do we have a rough date? Do we know roughly when the guest is going to come on and talk about this new breakthrough?
I believe we're looking at February or March. She's looking at her schedule to see what she can bring
And
in.
who is
so
this person?
I'm going to wait on that because they haven't given me the exact name on who's coming in. So I don't know
But
if
it's
it's
a doctor or something?
it could be the doctor, yes.
Okay. All right. So there's a big breakthrough. There's something we might be able to you hear here first. And that is the early breakdown, ideas, data, the straight scoop about this potentially big breakthrough, a blood test for pancreatic cancer. That would be huge. Even if it's still coming, just to know that it is coming would be, I think, a comfort for many here.
Well, yeah, it gives you hope to know at least there's something on the horizon, because it's been so long that we've been able to do or have anything.
Right.
That it's nice to know that at least there is something there.
How about clinical trials? We're always talking about. I'd love to have you bring more people in this year and talk about clinical trials. I don't think we talk about that enough.
No, we have, in fact, January is Clinical Trials Awareness Month. So we'll have somebody coming in to talk about the clinical trials, the new ones that are going on, how to get into a clinical trial and what's involved, and also try to shoot down some of the myths of clinical trial, which two of the big ones is, one is you're not given a placebo when you're on a clinical trial for pancreatic cancer. And the other myth is it's not the last-ditch effort. It should actually be the first thing we all look at if possible, because that's the only way we get our new treatments and our new medications.
No, I would have believed both of those. I would have believed that half the group gets a sugar pill. So, gee, I'm in the clinical trial. How did I get lucky enough to get the sugar pill part of it? And I die, and they go, okay, so that was so many died in this thing or got sick or whatever here or something. And lucky me, I didn't get the potentially saving side of the thing.
No, you will either get the drug that they are testing, or you will get what the standard is now, whatever they're using now. So there is no placebo involved.
Okay, didn't know that. And I would think it is a last gasp. I got to know what your dad even said before he died. Put me on anything. I'll be a guinea pig. If not for me, for somebody else.
Yeah, he was hoping that if, he could at least test it out, then maybe somebody else, would benefit from it. But clinical trials are something that we should all look at as the first course treatment, only because, like I said, it's very, very important. we can't get new treatments or anything without these clinical trials. They have to go and be approved by the FDA. So to do that, the only
Long,
way,
slow process.
very long and slow, which I don't understand, and I'm not sure why other countries can get it done a lot faster, but it is what it is. And so we just need to encourage people to really look at clinical trials.
Lawsuits and liability. I suspect a lot of it's that. They want to make sure, and safety, they want to make sure that what they're doing is right, not rushing it in there. All right, so clinical trials, we've got some more discussions of that coming up. Of all the shows you did, you'll be surprised. One of the ones that sticks in my head the most, there's about 2 or 3 of them. One of them is when you broke down, when you had a guest here, because there was a man talking about how he went through, or somebody he knew went through this clinical trial early on, and that proved to be a positive drug, and you eventually took it, and partly credit that with saving your life here. He was part of that. He or she, whoever the guest was part of that pioneer trial study.
Yeah, it was his wife came on and talked about the clinical trial that he did, and it was with Tarceva, which is an oral, and I was able to use that and was very successful with that for years. And his daughter will actually be coming on at some point and talking about her journey with her dad and what they went through. But yeah, it was very emotional to actually sit across from, because I knew her, but I just didn't realize that that's what he had gone through.
Yeah, and he paved the way for you.
Yeah, because of him and others who did that clinical trial. Like I said, I used that drug for probably 3 years and was very successful for me.
So there you go. One leads to the next. It's the story of this whole evolution, this journey, this podcast, and how one person's example maybe can help somebody else. Their experience, not just in teaching them what to do, but actually, in this case, pioneering a new drug.
Yeah, like I said, I'm very thankful, and it was very surreal to sit across from her and realize that, like I said, we had a relationship. I knew her very well and did not know her husband had been on that clinical trial.
So, but for that, things might have been different.
Very much so, yes.
Yeah. Yikes. Okay. I hate to even think those things, but it's amazing. We build upon the work of others here. All right, so blood tests, clinical trials coming up. Anything else? Money. What do you think money is going to look like this year? We're doing this in the first week of January. We don't even have a Congress yet here. They can't even decide who's going to lead it, much less what the budgets are going to be for the coming year here.
No, but we had a budget for our, to increase and not to cut for pancreatic cancer research. I haven't looked at it yet, but I did get notice that it was approved finally. So that's big news for us, and that because it did come on, I believe, the defense bill, which is really odd, but
they slip this stuff through because nobody's going to vote against defense, so they stick all these other things in there, and then stuff slips through.
Well, I think what they found too is there are a lot of veterans who have been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer.
Yeah, you had one on a while ago.
Yes, yeah, and he was one of many that I know. So there's some correlation there somewhere.
I'd love to hear more of that too. That's an interesting one looking for, because his story was another one I remember. Hadn't thought about it till now, but I do vividly remember him coming on, and he said one of the problems that vets had, he was like a ranger or something extreme. I think he was a ranger.
Yes.
Is that they're taught to tough it out, don't talk about problems, go it alone. You don't immediately say, I think I'm sick.
Yep.
I don't want to make that sound like a baby, but that's the way you're a baby if you say you're sick. You're a baby if you say you got a problem. And so, again, too late. They don't get to it early enough here.
Yeah, they just have to tough it out. And I think that was one of the issues with my dad. My dad had been in the Army and in the Air Force, so he was taught the same thing. You just swallow it and move on.
Right.
You don't complain.
Suck it up.
Yep, suck it up. You don't complain, and that was one of the problems. By the time,
but if you don't complain, nobody pays attention. You don't get the answers here.
No, and by the time we saw it in him, it was not because he was complaining. It was because we could see the physical change.
Yeah. I come from the baby generation. We didn't fight in the wars. We didn't do all that. We're the baby boomers. We are the perennial babies. My problem is, and some of my cousins, I had a cousin that died of not pancreatic cancer, but some kind of cancer. And it's because we don't want to go to the doctor. We don't want to know. We pretend everything's fine. No, no problem. I got nothing here. And so we go on and on and on here. And I think so one extreme or the other. You can be too tough and just tough it out, or you can be a little kid and stick your head in the sand here. And
well, with all cancers, obviously, but especially pancreatic cancer, you don't want to stick your head in the sand and just move on. I mean, you've got to, I think, meet it head on and deal with it, and hopefully have good results because of that.
Yeah. Okay, so we got maybe a blood test. That's big news. More information on clinical trials coming up. And this whole idea of other groups, any other special groups that we should talk to, or people, survivors, and vets is one you mentioned, any that just raises the issue. Are there other groups out there that might be more susceptible to this? Or
Well, I'd like to reach as many people as we can. Anybody who's had any relation or any kind of journey with it, to contact us so we can share their stories, or even if they have an idea. I know there's a lot of subjects we will be touching on that people aren't going to be happy about, but it's something that I think we need to do. We already did, the estate planning, and it's not something we want to think about, but we're all going to die eventually, whether it's pancreatic cancer, or heart attack, or just old age. It's something we
Right.
need to look at. So we have more things like that on the horizon, different methods of treatment, some, holistic, who might, just not endorsing it, but just to give you the idea of what else is out there that you can maybe look at and maybe include it with your traditional treatment. We do have also the Hirschberg Foundation, and I know that's not their full name, but it escapes me right now.
that's a long name. No,
It really is. But they
And
actually,
Aggie Hirschberg and all the great work she did on behalf of her husband Ron, I think it was.
yes.
They made a bunch of money somehow selling Adidas accessories or something like that, a lot of money. And they built, when he died, she went to UCLA and said, "Where's your research center?" And they said, "We don't have one." She said, "Now you do."
Exactly, and that was 25 years ago. They're just celebrating their 25th anniversary doing this and,
And
getting
she
involved.
admitted she kind of thought in her own way, well, okay, so we'll throw a bunch of money at this and we'll fix it.
Yeah, she thought it would be a lot simpler, I think. But like I said, they're in their 25th year, and actually on I think it's March 11th, it's a Saturday, they're doing their 17th annual Pancreatic Cancer Symposium, which is really amazing. And people really, to get more information, they have doctors come and talk about what's happening, what's been going on. They have a panel usually of survivors, caregivers talking about their journey. So you can check them out at,
Maybe we could go up there and get some interviews or something.
yeah, that might be something to look into. And we actually have somebody coming from Hirschberg in February to talk about the symposium. So I think that's very interesting.
Is that open to the public? Can
Yes,
people
it
go?
is. You just have to go online and register. And I'm sorry, I forget their website. But if you just Google Hirschberg Foundation, it'll come up.
Yeah.
But Amy will be coming on in February, and she'll also give that.
And when do you guys do your next walk? Is it going to be at Angel Stadium again in the spring?
Yeah, we're really happy. We get to go back to Angel Stadium. It's on a Saturday, April 29th. Next year, 23, we will actually be
We're
around.
in 23. You don't say next
Oh,
year.
that's right.
We're in 23.
Thank you. See for the reminder. Thank you. I'm still thinking
Next
back.
year's 24.
So this year, April 29th, we will be at Angel Stadium, and we're actually going to be in the front of the stadium this year instead of the back like we were last year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great event last year.
It really
Walk.
was. I'm telling you. I'll tell you what's so great about it is I've been to walks, and it's impressive, and people are waving banners and wearing shirts and remembering somebody, or a current group. We're fighting right now. I'm fighting it. Mom's fighting it, or remembering somebody. But when you do that, you don't get those group after group put up on the Jumbotron as they come through the stadium. And that's what was happening. It was very touching to watch these people, and just a little tribute, Joe, remembering Joe and the fight he did, or Mom and the fight she did, or Dad who's still with us. And there, suddenly you flash their picture for a moment. They remember. It's what you say. If you just mutter my name, I'm still remembered. I haven't been forgotten. And then then you see the live shot of the family and cheering, and I thought that was pretty wild. It got to me.
Yeah, that was really amazing, and to be able to be up, to see your family up on the Jumbotron, or just when you're walking through to see it, it was really, really special, and I'm really looking forward to it again this year. And we will be in the front, so we'll be by the hats, which I think is a little different, but yeah, it'll look great and be a great event. We're looking forward to
Maybe we'll
it.
live stream. We tried live streaming it last year. Some of it went through, and then we had some glitch, and it went down or whatever, but we got a bunch of it here.
Yeah, you did. You were able to at least capture the Path of Heroes, which is where we put the photos on the Jumbotron
Right.
of those that are fighting it still, surviving, or those that we've lost. And it's a really
I'm
memorable
telling you,
event.
it is wild to go up. Someday we should do a backstage thing. They allowed me to go up into the, whatever you call it, the press area. It's at the top of the stadium, like behind home plate, and there's all these little, what would you call them, like little balconies. And there's a main one there, and it's the control room for the whole Jumbotrons and all the cameras that are getting fed in. Typically the camera crews walking around shooting stuff up into the crowd. Whatever it was, the kiss cam or something. And you get a kiss or what. But and on all the different shots of all the different cameras and that giant control room is up there, and I got to go up there and then go on one of these little balconies where the visiting teams, reporters go, their TV, radio, newspaper guys, and there was a sea of wires. I mean, thousands of wires, all different configurations and shapes, and we couldn't figure out how to get the right wire to just plug into my little computer so I could live stream this over Facebook. We thought we'd figured it out, but we were missing one little piece of equipment that took one type of wire and turned it into another here.
Well, like I said, though, maybe we missed some of it, but you got the really important part, which was the Path of Heroes. So that I'm very thankful for. And anybody interested in, finding out more about Purple Stride, you can go to purplestride.org/OC, sign up for a team, start your own team, or, just come out and have a great day with us.
A lot of people, you weren't sure many people would be out there because it had been down for a couple of years with COVID, and yet.
Yeah, we did really well. We weren't really expecting, I think, a whole lot for that very reason, and we had to make a lot of concessions to do it, as far as trying to keep everybody safe, especially our survivors. But yeah, I think we were somewhere between 12 and 1,500 people, so we did really awesome. It was a great event, and we're looking forward to it again today. Living Hope was a proud sponsor, gold sponsor last year, and they're going to come back this year, so we're looking forward to that.
Well, I think that kind of sums up. Anything else you want to tag as we look ahead at 2023 here? A lot of stuff coming, same old stories, but with a lot more twists and a lot more interesting updates here.
Yeah, I hope so. And also, just real quick, because it is Clinical Trials Awareness Month, PanCan is having a webinar on January 26th, I believe. It's a Thursday. So I believe at 11 o'clock, but you can go to pancan.org and find out more information with that. And hopefully we'll have somebody also on to tell us a little bit more about it.
Okay. Well, take us out. Who is this dedicated to? Who do we want to remember today here?
I think I'd really like to remember all those that have done a clinical trial and participated in a clinical trial, since it is Clinical Trial Awareness Month, because without them and their dedication, and it's not always an easy thing to do, we wouldn't be where we are with our treatments today. So just to thank all those people, those families, those that are here with us and those that aren't here with us, your dedication and what you did is really important, and we really do appreciate it.
Absolutely. We look forward to hearing more about that and a lot more as we continue the journey here on Living Hope. So as we say each and every week, thanks for joining us. We hope you'll join us again as we continue this journey. Hope, inspiration, and education for those living with or around those living with pancreatic cancer. Sharing the real-life stories of those really affected by this deadly disease and how they deal with it on a daily basis. So if you'd like to share your stories, just contact us at the station here or any place else. You can reach Roberta through the Facebook page. Look up OC Talk Radio and contact us here. And if you know somebody who needs information urgently, lots of places they can go. Hirschberg Center's one. We'll give you another one here locally. 877-2 PANCAN, PANCAN, for the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. And for the OC Talk Radio Network, I'm Paul Roberts. Thank you for joining us. Share this with somebody today and come back and share the journey with us as we continue to give living hope through this living conversation.